The envelope arrived without fanfare, delivered by a silent drone that disappeared as quickly as it came. It bore the insignia of the Unified Earth Administration, a holographic stamp shimmering with authority. Ethan Blackwell hesitated, staring at it on his kitchen counter. Official government correspondence was rarely a good thing. Finally, curiosity won. He opened the envelope, revealing a sleek metallic card and a folded letter. The text on the card blinked to life: designation, liaison program. Your assigned companion, Zephyr, 7. Arrival, immediate. Ethan barely had time to process before his apartment door chimed. Standing in the doorway was a tall, humanoid figure. Its skin shimmered like liquid mercury, reflecting the dim light of his apartment. Two large, violet eyes studied him with an intensity that made him feel exposed. Greetings, it said, voice melodic but unnervingly neutral. I am Zephyr, 7, your assigned alien liaison. May I enter? Ethan blinked. Wait. This is real. You're what, here to be my friend or something? Companion, Zephyr corrected. Your government has initiated this program to foster interspecies understanding. My presence here is a symbol of our alliance with the Andralis Collective. Your compliance is appreciated. Ethan rubbed his temples. Of course. Compliance. He stepped aside, letting the alien into his modest apartment. The next few days were surreal. Zephyr moved with an eerie precision, its silver skin rippling as it performed tasks Ethan never asked for. It reorganized his cabinets by molecular density, rewired his ancient coffee maker to produce energy-efficient espressos, and even repaired his flickering living room lamp without touching it. I didn't ask you to do any of this, Ethan said on the third day, watching as Zephyr analyzed the nutritional value of his breakfast cereal. It is my purpose to assist and adapt, Zephyr replied, not looking up. Your dietary habits are suboptimal. I am rectifying this. Ethan sighed. You're not a butler. You're what, some kind of cultural exchange experiment, right? How about we actually talk instead of you just fixing everything? Zephyr paused, tilting its head in an oddly human-like gesture. Very well. What would you like to discuss? Ethan thought for a moment. What's life like in the Andralis Collective? Do you all look like this? He gestured vaguely at Zephyr's shimmering form. The alien's eyes brightened faintly. My appearance is adaptive. It is modeled to minimize your discomfort. As for life in the collective, it is unified, efficient, and devoid of conflict. Individual desires are subordinated to the collective good. Sounds sterile, Ethan said, frowning. Don't you ever, I don't know, want something for yourself? Zephyr seemed to hesitate, its reflective surface dimming slightly. Desire is a concept we suppress. It leads to inefficiency. But you're curious, aren't you? Ethan pressed. That's why you're here. I am here to fulfill my role. Over the next weeks, Ethan's unease turned into fascination. Zephyr's knowledge was vast, but its understanding of human quirks was hilariously lacking. When Ethan introduced it to pizza, it calculated the molecular composition for hours before hesitantly tasting a slice. When he showed it old sitcoms, Zephyr stared, perplexed, at the laugh tracks. Yet, the more time they spent together, the more Ethan noticed subtle changes. Zephyr's stiff formality softened. It asked questions, tentative at first, then with growing curiosity. Why do you humans find humor in failure? It asked one evening after watching a slapstick comedy. Because we relate to it, Ethan replied. Life's full of missteps. Laughing at them makes it bearable. Zephyr considered this. Fascinating. Your resilience is inefficient but remarkable. Then came the incident that changed everything. One night, a bright flash lit up the city. The sky turned red as a massive Andralis warship descended, its presence suffocating. The collective had arrived, and they weren't here to chat. Zephyr's form stiffened as it received a transmission. The collective has deemed humanity's autonomy inefficient. Integration is imminent. Ethan's blood ran cold. Integration? You mean conquest? Zephyr didn't answer. Its shimmering body flickered, as if in conflict. I must comply with the collective's directive. No, you don't, Ethan said firmly. You've seen us, lived with us. We're messy, sure, but we're worth protecting. Zephyr's violet eyes met Ethan's. Defying the collective is unprecedented. So was assigning you to me, Ethan countered. But here you are. For a long moment, the alien was silent. Then, with a resolute nod, it turned to the glowing warship. Stay here. Before Ethan could protest, Zephyr vanished in a flash of light. Hours passed. Explosions echoed in the distance. Then, as dawn broke, the warship began to ascend, its intimidating presence retreating into the void. Moments later, Zephyr reappeared, its form dim and flickering. I have negotiated a reprieve, it said weakly. Your planet remains sovereign for now. Ethan caught the alien as it swayed, its strength fading. You risked everything for us. For you, Zephyr corrected, a faint glow returning to its eyes. Perhaps inefficiency has value after all. From that day forward, Zephyr was no longer just an assigned companion. It was a friend, a bridge between two worlds, and proof that even the most rigid beings could change when exposed to humanity's unique, chaotic brilliance. Ethan gently helped Zephyr to the couch, where the alien slumped, its shimmering skin duller than Ethan had ever seen. The sight unnerved him. Despite its advanced nature, Zephyr now looked fragile, as though the effort of defying its collective had cost it dearly. You're going to be okay, right? Ethan asked, worry thick in his voice. Zephyr's eyes flickered faintly. My energy reserves are critically low. I expended a significant amount negotiating with the collective's hierarchy. My actions were unorthodox. Unorthodox. You stopped an invasion, Ethan said. That's more than unorthodox, it's heroic. Zephyr's head tilted slightly. Heroic and interesting concept. To act against one's programming for the sake of another, this is unique to your species. It is inefficient, yet strangely compelling. Ethan grabbed his tablet, searching for any way to help. You need energy. Is there something I can do? Some kind of charge, or... Before he could finish, Zephyr extended a hand, stopping him. There is a way, but it requires trust. My core can integrate energy from organic beings through direct contact. It is unconventional. Ethan didn't hesitate. Do it. Zephyr's hand reached out, brushing against Ethan's arm. A tingling sensation spread through him as a faint glow surrounded the alien's form. Slowly, Zephyr's body regained its luster, its shimmering surface once again reflecting the light around them. When the process ended, Zephyr released him, its movement steadier. You have given me part of your bioelectric energy. Your generosity is noted. Ethan waved it off. It's nothing. You've done way more for me, and for Earth. Zephyr stood, its form now fully restored. The collective will question my actions. They may return, though not immediately. My intervention has created a temporary stalemate, but the underlying threat remains. Ethan crossed his arms. Then we'll be ready. If there's one thing humans are good at, it's adapting. The alien studied him for a long moment, its violet eyes glinting with something Ethan couldn't quite place. You have taught me much, Ethan Blackwell. Your species thrives in chaos, finds strength in imperfection. Perhaps the collective's efficiency is not as absolute as I once believed. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of activity. With Zephyr's guidance, humanity began preparing for the possibility of another encounter with the collective. Zephyr shared knowledge of advanced technologies, helping Earth's scientists leap generations ahead. Ethan often found himself at the center of these efforts, working closely with Zephyr and a growing team of engineers and strategists. Despite the looming threat, he noticed a shift in Zephyr's demeanor. It began to laugh at his jokes, show curiosity about art and music, and even offer its own insights into the chaotic beauty of humanity's creativity. One evening, as they watched the stars from Ethan's rooftop, he asked the question that had been gnawing at him. Why did you do it? Why risk everything for us? Zephyr's gaze remained fixed on the heavens. I was designed to observe and report, to act as a bridge between our species. But in observing your kind, I found something unexpected. You are flawed, yes, but within those flaws lies a resilience and creativity unlike anything I have known. I realized the collective's vision of perfection was incomplete without understanding imperfection. Ethan smirked. So, in a way, we've corrupted you. Zephyr's eyes glowed faintly, almost as if smiling. Or perhaps you have liberated me. The alien companion remained on Earth, continuing to guide humanity as they prepared for the uncertain future. Together, they stood as a symbol of what was possible when two vastly different beings learned not just to coexist, but to grow together. And as Ethan watched Zephyr integrate more deeply into human society, he couldn't help but think that maybe, just maybe, they had a fighting chance against whatever the galaxy threw at them next. As the months passed, the partnership between Zephyr and humanity deepened. The alien's unique perspective, combined with human ingenuity, propelled technological and societal advancements at an unprecedented rate. Cities became greener and more efficient, space travel expanded beyond the solar system, and humanity began uniting under a shared purpose, preparing for the return of the collective. Zephyr, now a trusted advisor, had become more than just an alien companion. Its once neutral demeanor softened into something akin to camaraderie. It learned to navigate humanity's quirks, from embracing celebrations like New Year's Eve to engaging in heated debates over pizza toppings. Zephyr had become one of them, or as close as an alien could. One night, Ethan was called to a covert council meeting. The leaders of Earth's newly formed defense coalition sat in a high-tech chamber beneath the Andes Mountains. Zephyr stood at the center, its metallic form catching the light of holographic displays that surrounded them. I have intercepted a transmission, Zephyr announced. Its voice was calm, but the tension in the room was palpable. The collective has convened. They are debating the next course of action regarding Earth. The odds of another invasion attempt are high. A general slammed his hand on the table. Then we strike first. Show them we won't roll over. Zephyr's violet eyes dimmed briefly. An offensive move would provoke the full might of the collective. Their fleets outnumber yours by a factor of thousands. However, there is another way. All eyes turned to the alien. Ethan leaned forward, his heart pounding. What's your plan? Zephyr's form seemed to ripple as it projected a hologram. A web of star systems appeared, highlighting key collective worlds. The collective strength lies in its unity. It operates on a hive-like network, driven by absolute synchronization. If we can disrupt that network, introduce a fracture, it could destabilize their command structure. How do we do that? One of the scientists asked, eyes wide. Zephyr paused. By using me. The room fell silent. Ethan's stomach dropped. What do you mean, using you? I am still connected to the collective's communication grid, Zephyr explained. If I transmit a false signal, I can create confusion among their ranks. It will give Earth the time needed to fortify its defenses and negotiate from a position of strength. Ethan stood, his voice rising. And what happens to you if you do that? Zephyr's gaze met his. The collective will identify me as compromised. I will be severed permanently. No, Ethan said firmly. We'll find another way. We're not sacrificing you. Zephyr stepped closer, its voice softer than Ethan had ever heard. I am not sacrificing myself. I am choosing to act. It is a concept you taught me, the value of defiance, of standing for something greater than oneself. The room erupted into debates, but Ethan couldn't focus. His mind raced, desperate for an alternative. Yet as he looked into Zephyr's glowing eyes, he realized it had already made its decision. 2 days later, the plan was set into motion. Zephyr stood on a platform in Earth's Central Command Hub, surrounded by engineers and military personnel. Ethan stood by its side, fists clenched. "You don't have to do this," he said, his voice cracking. Zephyr placed a shimmering hand on his shoulder. "You once asked why I risked everything for your kind. It is because I see what you cannot yet see in yourselves, a potential for greatness, born from imperfection. Protect that potential." The countdown began. Zephyr's form brightened as it accessed the collective's network, its energy radiating throughout the room. The moment stretched into eternity. Then, with a final surge of light, Zephyr's body froze. Its once vivid eyes dimmed to darkness. The collective's fleet, scattered across the galaxy, erupted into chaos. Ships collided, systems failed, and their overwhelming force crumbled under the weight of their own confusion. Earth had gained not just time, but an invaluable victory. But the cost was immeasurable. Ethan stood by Zephyr's inert form, tears streaming down his face. "You said you were choosing this," he whispered. "But it still doesn't feel right." Days turned into weeks as Earth celebrated its survival and prepared for the next chapter. Yet, for Ethan, the world felt emptier without the presence of his alien companion. One evening, as he sat on his rooftop staring at the stars, his tablet buzzed. A message appeared, encrypted and untraceable. "Ethan, your gift of imperfection lives on. I am not gone, merely transformed. Until we meet again." His breath caught. Was it real? Or just his mind playing tricks? He looked up at the sky and smiled. Somewhere out there, among the stars, Zephyr was still watching, still learning, still defying the odds. And Ethan knew one thing for certain: humanity's story was far from over.